Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm V. My name is Cass V. Most people just call me V, Temple of Becoming. And today I'm welcoming David Block, the one and only David Block, who teaches all kinds of powerful left-hand path and more focused content, classes, etc. So welcome, David. So glad to have you.
Thank you, Cass. Nice to be here with you and your audience, and let's see what we can talk about and share here today. Hopefully all. I don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know in these crazy times, right? We should need to talk about everything and all, but you
I
never know.
know. Yeah, we won't be able to talk about every single thing, I'm sure, but we're going to talk about some really juicy stuff. I have a feeling. Absolutely. Do you want to introduce yourself and your work just a little bit here for the viewers and those watching, folks who might not know you?
Yeah, yes, my name is David Block. I'm from Sweden. I'm born in Uppsala, of all places. It's an interesting town to be born in, for sure. And somehow I ended up on all the most esoteric places in Sweden. So right now I'm on Gotland, Sweden, and Gotland, Sweden. Gotland is an island. Lives 60,000 people here. And it's a very interesting connection with runes, Vikings, the Knights Templar. Everything is here on this island, and it's not a coincidence that I am here. Let's say it like that. And yes, I'm a left and path practitioner. It started out awakening to some conspiracy theories, but I very soon understood that. Right. I understand that we have been lied to, but it will not transform me. It's just knowledge, and your worldview becomes much darker when you know that things aren't what we supposed to, what we believed in. So I knew I need something to believe in. And here in Sweden, there's a lot of materialism and atheism, not that much Christianity. And so when I was born very different. I felt completely as a stranger, didn't know what went on, but I was kind of pushed into the machine, so I kind of gave up. But when I was awakening again, it went very quickly. I came to search for the deeper meaning of life again, like through religion, because I need something to believe in after my discovery of some conspiracy theories. It started out with JFK, 9/11, Franklin cover-up, our false history. I was in a very dark place, very dark place. And I still remember when I understood our false reality. And this is something that is very important to me. And that's the reason why I talk about it a lot, our false history, false narrative, right? When I understood that they fooled us, I didn't have my mental shield up. You can see it with people when you start to talk about things like this, you see their eyes goes blank or they don't listen, they don't hear what you're saying. I didn't have the shield up, so it was just penetrating me. And a voice said, they have fooled us. They have fooled us.
Wow.
And I felt I was falling like in a black well of nothingness, and everything was gone.
That's so
Uh,
Wodic, you know? It's like falling into the well of Mimir or something, you know?
yeah, exactly.
Sacrifice and then you get all this knowledge and a lot of people could say like conspiracy theories just kind of on and on with this, but really like
Yeah,
it sounds like you're a teacher of true history is more like we could say it
yeah,
like that, like this is your mission in a lot of ways, right? Like
yeah.
yeah.
It has, and I really understand now because it like kind of came full circle when I moved to Gotland, and I can talk so much about it if you want to, but yeah. So I started to search for something to believe in because they have fooled us was the first I heard, and it was just empty. And I wanted to know who have fooled us, and why. and how to get out of this mess. Because it was not they fooled me, they fooled us, they fooled the human race. And so then a big search started, and I gave all religion a try. I mean, I even was into the Jehovah's Witness for a while. I read the Mormon Bible, I read
Yeah,
Quran, everything. I gave
good.
everything a new chance. But I came to alchemy through Taoism.
Mhm.
And when I started to read alchemy, I started to find, oh, this shit is like, yeah,
Wow.
now we're going somewhere.
Yeah,
And from alchemy, I came to Lurianic Kabbalah, and Lurianic Kabbalah is about the tree of life.
yeah,
Studied for 10 years. I had results, so I can talk about it, but I felt something was missing, and
yeah,
that it was not deception, but I didn't believe in it. And then I started to buy book into the left-hand path, and
yeah.
and I
Oh,
felt that, yeah, this is good, but this is dark, this is evil, even though I was an atheist materialist later on, not when I was a kid, but I felt,
yeah,
the programming is so Lucifer is supposed to be evil, 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 don't go there, demons.
yeah.
So I really understand the programming of religion. But then I was stuck in the Lurianic Kabbalah work, and that's not, I mean, when you are an esoteric practitioner, we all know that you come to a standstill and you work, nothing happen. And if you go through this period of times, you take a huge step forward. In this case, I felt like I was at a standstill, but I said, fuck it, let's give this Lucifer, because I wanted to know if they really existed.
Yeah.
So I asked Lucifer with a sigil in a book, if you exist. I didn't do an invocation, I didn't do nothing. I just watched at the sigil in the book and said, Lucifer, if you exist, show yourself to me. Put the book on the table and went to sleep.
Hmm.
And then Lucifer put the plug in my head and then started pour in the information in my brain, and took me to Noah's Ark and
Wow.
show me how I should continue my journey to push forward. And when I woke up, uh, my old reality was gone.
Wow. It's like the Matrix, they lay down in
Yeah,
a chair and they get the download and I learned Kung Fu.
exactly.
Show me, it's like a download.
Exactly.
That's
And if you
incredible.
have seen the movie Lawn Mover Man, when he's laying on this bed, like this is download of symbols, chemical symbols, that's exactly what happened. The in the movie that I show you.
Oh, I cannot wait to ask you more about this, and I will. I talk a lot about the Matrix on my content as like an analogy for the soul's
Oh,
journey. It's like an initiatory, very Kabbalistic, very Gnostic
yeah.
initiatory journey of this hero's journey, very universal to all types of,
Yeah.
all cultures, all mystery texts have this formula baked in. And I talk a lot about it because coding and tech has actually played a big part in my spiritual journey, in my spiritual awakening, actually.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm a technologist, so I work with technology and I have a lot
Oh,
of
yeah, you
I get
do.
like visuals of
Interesting.
like, yeah. And it's interesting, David, because I know you live close to ruins. Like you can just like walk to like ancient sites where there's like churches and stuff where runes were carved thousands of years ago. We
Yeah.
don't have that here in the States on the West Coast. Like it's
No,
like to think about that reality, it's like, oh my God, that would be so cool. What a valuable thing, like even though I have
mm,
that genealogy,
yeah,
that lineage,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
walk down the street. And it's powerful
But,
because the runes are like almost like source codes in a way. A lot of
yes,
times like hieroglyphics, there's different like the Hebrew letters from the Kabbalistic tree, similar kind of
yeah,
principle of like these very powerful like letters, symbols, codes to
exactly.
creation and destruction and the mystery itself.
Exactly. Good point. And I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between Lurianic Kabbalah and let's say, left-hand path, learning Kabbalah, and the reason why I felt something was off, because you have these 22 Hebrew letters on the tree of life. In the Cliff-Ortic tree, of course, you have the 22 tongues as well. But what really makes you resonate more with the tree of death, the Cliff-Ortic tree, is the runes, is the sigils, the, let's say, another language.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in Illyrian Kabbalah, you use Hebrew letters a lot, but the Hebrew letters really anchor you more into the matrix.
Wow. Yeah, I believe that.
And the rune anchors you more to the cliffotic, to the raw, to the primal, to
Mhm.
nature, to chaos, darkness, right? So,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I just picked up this. I just started reading this book about the Zohar
hmm,
by
yeah,
Rav Berg, and I can't wait to buy a
uh,
couple more texts about the Zohar because this text, I mean, and I'll just say this before I say anything else. A lot of my followers are not really into esoterica. Some of them are. Some of them are like,
hmm,
"What is this?" And I have people who are into like the light and the love, and Yeshua, and then I have people who are into
yeah,
the darkest, most clipothic, most demonic stuff. I have like the whole gamut. So a
yeah.
little bit of everything for everybody today, but this text specifically, the Zohar, I would love to hear how it's different from Lurianic Kabbalah in your mind, if you've studied it, or any
Yeah.
tidbits that are juicy in your Kabbalistic studies and this code, this source code.
Yes, so uh, here was I have discovered about the Lurianic Kabbalah, the Hebrew letters, and the Lurianic, all of that. It's nothing wrong to study it. The problem is that you study really the bars of the matrix we are in. So you become more and more one with the matrix hack code, but you don't transcend it. So, for example, if you like the sun and the light, of course, we all like the sun and the light, you become more part of the sunlight, but you don't transcend it. And to transcend the matrix, you have to go through the darkness.
Hmm.
So you become more anchored in this. I call it the matrix. I don't know if what kind of worldview your viewers have, but I come from I have taken a quite Gnostic worldview, but I use left-hand path methods to transcend the matrix, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Can you say more about that? Like your practices, your initiations, like how did you get this information? I mean, you talked about Luciferian like download, but
Hmm. Yes, how do I come to this
Mhm.
conclusion and this gnosis? Um, I use many different sources of information. Of course, the most powerful is the gnosis you get when you cross to the astral or you go into, because what happens when you go to the astral is that, or lucid dreaming state or whatever, is that your brain takes a back seat and your heart do the thinking first and then your brain. So it goes, you feel the information, you don't think the information. And to feel the information, it becomes part of you if you have that process instead. And it really becomes a very powerful gnosis instead of something you speak up from your mind only.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
uh,
For saying
uh,
that. That is so profound.
mm,
A lot of
so
people they don't realize that we live in such an intellectual kind of
yes,
disembodied culture in the West, and to feel this in our
exactly.
bones, to feel it in our soul, our emotions, like you become part of the mystery. The mystery gets to know you. It's like an intimate
Yeah.
relationship. And I talk a lot on the content about developing an intimate relationship with the unknown, with the like, I don't know what this is, but I feel this. I feel it in my
Mm,
bones. That,
exactly.
yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
there's a powerful story in this book. You may have read
Mm.
this story.
Yeah.
I think it's in the Zohar, but there a couple of rabbis. There's like a teacher rabbi and a rabbi. a guy who's like his student who's becoming a rabbi. And the student goes to the teacher and he's like, I want to learn how to use the Kabbalah to like gain wealth. I want to basically
Mm.
learn magic, and
Yeah,
create
yeah, yeah,
on the
yeah.
planet Earth. And he's like, I can give you your wish, my son. So then some time goes by and suddenly appears at the door this rich entrepreneur who's like, I have all this gold and who can teach me the Kabbalah? Like, I will pay you in gold. And he's like, I have a student right here. He's ready to receive your gold. And it totally manifested. And then he's like working, he's getting all this wealth with this just pure gold, like this guy's paying him. He's teaching him the Kabbalah and everything's great. But then after a few weeks of that, the teacher hears the student crying and praying in the other room, and he goes in, he's like, my son, what is it? And he goes, I realize that I can't just learn the Kabbalah for wealth and for magic and manifestation. I have to learn it for truth itself, mystery for mystery itself, because it's who
Yeah.
we are. It's like this is a process of the soul's journey, the hero's journey,
Mm,
the
mm,
universal
mm,
formula. It's
mm.
baked into all kinds of initiatory systems. It's a part of why we're here, as human beings, I think. And that's such
Yeah,
a
yeah,
beautiful story because I have a lot of people who, for me,
yes.
like I'm very future focused, even though I'm working with, I talk about my respected grandmother, my respected grandmother who came to me, David, in a
Mm,
meditation during a working and was like,
mm,
I'm your ancestor. And I'm like, holy shit, here's this vulva, this witch of my Norse lineage, my
mm,
dad's ancestor, very powerful witch. And she started just teaching me and like giving me all these teachings about like, here's how to work with the runes and this is what you're going to do. And I was like, holy shit. And she like taught me how to do all these things and I would check and like research it. And it was like all this stuff was like documented of like, this is how, the runes were, worked with, and this is what we know from the Greeks and the Romans documenting this. And I'm like, holy shit, she's on to, this is a thing. This is real.
mm.
And it's like all this stuff from the past kind of comes into relevancy now in the present,
Yes,
moving into the
yes.
future. And a lot of the people who work with me, my clients, my mentees, the people who follow me, they're interested in starting a business. And you guys, if you're watching, like you might be like, yeah, I want gold. Like I want wealth. I want to make this happen. I want to create magic and build a business and live my purpose and do it in alignment and really like build something here that's like prosperous. But
Mm,
remember that it's not enough to just have money, and I talk about this a lot. Having money is great, but having money in alignment with your purpose, like
mm, mm.
who you are, like what you're designed to do, that's real wealth. That's going to bring you fulfillment. Just having money and just like, if you're just like
Yeah,
not
exactly.
enough,
I do.
Like so anyway,
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah,
do you think? I
exactly.
mean,
Good point.
yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Money doesn't have to be a bad thing. It depends on
No.
what you do with it, and if you do it from your heart, I think you're on the right way for sure.
Have you ever experienced, David, the nine parts of the soul in the Norse tradition? Have you ever studied this?
I haven't, and I started to study the rune for real for half a year ago, so it's
Oh.
quite new to me, and I don't remember how I came into it. But I realized how powerful the rune was.
Yeah, I want to talk about the room.
Yeah, and it's very strange. Of course, I read all this Norse mythology and all of that, but it takes time to really understand the Norse mythology, and there's so much powerful stuff to be learned from there. But I was really in the left-hand path, and I wanted to have the left-hand path the method left-hand path very clean. But then when I realized that no, the real runes can prepare your body temple, for example, the cliphotic tree, because your body starts to vibrate in the tune to the void.
Mm. Whoa. Okay, tell me more about that. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, so when you use the runes, when you use this right, it doesn't have to hit the perfect note, but it should be the runes should resonate in your body when you do the pronunciation of the runes. Focus, attention should be right and all of that. But if you hit the right note, doesn't have to be perfect, but you know, as perfect as you can. And you vibrate in your body start to vibrate in a different way. So your body start to be in tune with the void more than the tree of life, the hijacked matrix note. It's like the music scale as well. They have changed it. You can have a music scale tuned to the void or to the matrix more. Music, they anchor you more to the grid, so to speak, or to the void. And the
Wow.
runes uh, anchor your body more to the void. So it
Wow.
prepares your body temple to really go into the more to the dark corner of the creation, let's say it's and what's outside of this matrix. And
Oh, I love that. You know why I love that is because in our tradition, the Norse tradition of our lineage, this was story songs. This is how it was passed down. This the myths, the teachings, the spells. It was all oral tradition. It was like story songs and like chants and galdur, and like all this like very oral tradition. The vulvas would come and they'd sing the songs. The women would sing the songs. They'd pass them down in song
yeah,
and the
ex-
storytelling.
exactly, exactly. There you have it. Yes. And I'm sure that all of this music, all this mind, all of this made you vibrate in a certain way if you get involved with it, and if you use the opportunity to have all this this profound experience to be ingrained in you, like take it in. And to be there in the moment today, people's mind is everywhere, so they can't fucking just be there.
Yeah.
When I
They've
get
been
into
so
my
busy,
temples, hmm,
busy all the time, just distractions.
yeah.
Scrolling, more scrolling. Like
It's like, what
all
will
the
happen
time.
tomorrow? What has happened before?
Yeah, like in the old days, there wasn't so much distraction,
Exactly,
like it was
exactly.
more set up, but there's even with all the distraction, it's almost like a good thing. It creates juxtaposition of like, oh my God, really crazy, busy distractions everywhere. You're almost like when we get away from that, it's like, oh wow, it's quiet, it's peaceful. Like the juxtaposition helps you feel it deeper,
Hmm.
almost. The silence, the stillness, the void, sort of the Ganunga gap energy, that like
Yeah,
just that temple. Wow.
exactly.
So what do you say, David, when people ask you what are the runes? Like what do you tell them,
Uh,
your classes, your students?
yes. So what are the runes? They are tuned to Mother Earth, and Hecate is Sophia is part of Mother Earth, and Yggdrasil, the word tree. And I know people think it's a story and myth and all of that. When we talk about this myth, it's both a manifestation in matter and a metaphysical phenomena. What was the Yggdrasil tree? Because it wasn't a manifestation, it was a real thing. It was a word tree. And the word tree did exist. You have a couple of them in USA. They are cut down. People think they are mountains and so on because they were so big. So this word tree reached to heaven. And the Yggdrasil tree reached to heaven. It scraped the heavens. And it was a fauna in and of itself. So you had a word tree and then you have a nature forest around it, like the normal sized tree. And the normal sized tree, they live on water. By the word tree, they was a huge, and it was like a computer, biological computer. It took its source not from water, life source, but from the dragon lines, according to me. So imagine the roots of a tree, it goes down into the ground very far. So imagine a word tree going to heaven, the root system just penetrate the earth, right? So when Odin hang himself upside down to gain insights into the rune, knowledge about the rune, he sacrificed himself, he hanged himself upside down in the tree. But before he hanged himself upside down in the tree, he went to the well Mimer and he drank from the well of Mimer. And Mimer was connected to the Yggdrasil tree. So view Mimer, the well, as the trees, the forest growing around the word tree, who was the node. It was the main frame in that ecosystem. That word tree Yggdrasil was in turn connected to the Akashic record. Remember I said it was a biological computer. So if you could hack into the Yggdrasil tree, you also gain access to all the memories of real history, and you can download everything they have stolen from us, our false history and everything. The runes help you to connect you to the Yggdrasil tree, and water in Hebrew, the Lurianic Kabbalah Hebrew language is mem. Mem is water, and water is memory and emotion, feelings. It is feminine. So when you drink from the Yggdrasil tree, you drink from memory. You drink memory, and then you have the Grail. The Grail was not. It was you. If you drink from the Grail, you drink from the memory that comes from the Akasha. And in the tarot cards, you have the Hanged Man, number 12. If you count from 1 to 12, you get 78, and 78 is the number of cards in the tarot deck. You have to be the hanged man or the hanged woman to hang in there over the water, drink the water, take it in, don't flinch, hang in there, take it all in, all the darkness, every collective darkness we have been through, all the false history, every false narrative about who we are. And then number 13 is the death. So you have the 12 knights and Arthur, you have 12 disciples and Jesus, Yeshua, because you blink out, you die from this false history, because you drink from the well of Yggdrasil, Akashic record, the memory, the grail, and you use the rune to hack into that void, Mother Earth, Hecate Sophia, the hacked Earth. It's not taken over, so you still have parts of Earth they haven't managed to take over. But we can see this artificial cancer start to take over everything. And of course, right now they try to take over humanity because you are part of Sophia, Hecate, Mother Earth. What they want to do is to take over your heart and make you into an artificial android being. If they succeed, you cannot hack into the Yggdrasil tree because you do it from your heart.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
I hope I answer your
Oh
question.
my God. I got to tell you, David, just listening to you speak about this, I'm sure your students, if they're listening to this, they're like, oh, I go to the David's classes. This is kind of just, they're normal, they're studying from you. But for me to listen to you, I mean, every time we've talked a couple times, and every time we talk, I'm just like, oh my God. When I listen to your recorded videos, I'm like, oh my God, you have this wealth of gnosis, this wealth. It almost makes me want to cry the way it feels to
Mm,
listen to you, to listen to your grasp of the mysteries deep in your soul and your heart. And anybody who's, I know there's a couple people who, work with me who are very hungry for the mysteries, especially these type of mysteries and how the different, across different cultures, whether it's the Kabbalistic mysteries, the Enneagram, the Runic and Norse mysteries, these, around the world, Egyptian, whatever, they all have these connections, they all kind of connect to each other with these similar themes. listen to what David is saying because this is profound. Like going through the heart to open up your heart so you can receive the knowledge. This is why I created, with the help of my guides and my respected grandmother and like King
Mm,
Asmodeus and the guides that work with me, I created a ritual service that helps the
mm.
participant to go on this journey, change their auric field to be more negatively polarized, so it's more dissolving, it's more magnetic, it's receiving, deeply receiving and digesting that information that comes only through your own temple, your vessel.
Yes.
The temple becoming temple. What is that? Temple, you are the temple. This is your temple. This is it. This is you.
Exactly.
You live in your purpose. You receive
Mm,
knowledge. On this journey, this is the ritual service that I offer. It supports the participant to receive your own gnosis from your own well, from your own Ganunga gap, your own entryway into the mystery, into the void place, the place of silence, the place of gnosis, you know?
exactly.
You don't have to receive it from external authority. No religious figure has
No.
to tell you. You don't have to listen to society or, some leader out there or like some intercession priest or, you
Mm,
go straight to the source, just like Odin did in our mysteries, that he went right,
exactly.
decided to just go himself. Nobody else had gone before him. It was frightening. It was a transformation. It was deep. It was dark. It was painful.
Mm,
And I don't know about you, David, but like learning, especially from my respected grandmother, my Ida Sama, she has
mm,
really shown me how to work with specifically the inverted runes, the runes that are either lying on their face or they're inverted or they're like mirrored. I call them
mm,
the chaos runes. And
mm,
not a lot is talked about. I've done a little bit of research, and there's sometimes in movies, like the movie Midsummer,
mm.
they appear. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I
So
haven't, but I heard it's about Sweden now.
very occult. It's very powerful, very like left-hand path flavored as well. But
Mm,
these mysteries, right? I'm finding that the runes, especially the chaos runes, the inverted and mirror runes, when you really like negatively polarize, which means just having a more receptive magnetic counterclockwise movement in your energy field, it helps you to really receive the mystery on a deeper level in your temple on your own with no intermediary. You don't have to, go to some external authority. You can receive it on your own and see it for what it is and how to apply it for yourself, for
mm,
your own journey, for your own development, your own purpose, your own whatever you want to create. But
mm.
you have to be brave enough to go there
Yes, yeah.
on your own. No one's going to do
It-
it for you. It's kind of
no,
like in the Matrix, like Morpheus goes to Neo and he's like, I
that's
can only show you the door. You have to go through
exactly.
it.
Exactly. The movie Matrix is
Right?
the
Right?
first one is great.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
the other two, they should never made the other two, even
I
though
know.
there's some fun truth in them.
Here, yeah.
You should absolutely see them, but fortunately, it becomes the propaganda hit piece for the demiurge in the end. I don't know if you have recognized that
Ooh,
in the movie.
tell me about that. What led you to feel
Yeah,
propaganda?
so let's say, okay, so what is the Matrix movies about? It's about Osiris and Set. I know it sounds off for now, but that's the closest you come to it. So you have the hacker, because it's the Matrix, Neo. So he worked as a hacker and he discovered the Matrix and he started this war in the and that's what you have to become. You have to become a shamanistic hacker. So far so good. And in the end of the movie, he have this, seen through the illusions, discovered the truth, transform, awaken, become this Superman in the system, and now he can crash the system. You get the he can fly in the end, so you get the idea
Yep.
that he can do whatever.
Yep.
But then suddenly, all hope is lost again, so it started all over again. And in the third movie. And you should see it again. See all the three movies after you have If you get what I try to tell you, you will see it yourself. So in the end of the third movie, he has to strike a deal with the Demiurge to stop Agent Smith, who became a cancer in the system. So he goes to the Demiurge and says, "Look, you have to upload me." Uh, so he allowed the Demiurge to plug into him, meaning that now he can analyze his rebel spark because Neo is the glitch in the system. So now the Demiurge can analyze what went wrong. And when he understand what went wrong and he analyzed Neo's rebel spark, he recreate the Matrix in a more perfect system with Neo in mind. So not only have everything been from nothing, now the Matrix is stronger because now they have analyzed the Neo Rebel glitch.
Wow. Wow. I feel like we could do an hours long recording on just the Matrix alone because it's so
Yeah,
rich and so Gnostic.
it is.
And for those people who are watching who aren't familiar with who the Demiurge is, how would you explain that?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
in the Gnostic beliefs, the Demiurge is the one who controls the Matrix, or he keep human ignorant so he can feed on humanity and use them as an energy source.
Yep.
I think that's a fear. Now, the what I come to conclude is that the Demiurge is an AI supercomputer.
Wow.
Feed on human energy. You are the energy source of this machine. Needs you. And that supercomputer AI is Saturn. Not only is Saturn not a planet or a gas planet, the gassy stuff is hey, that's the illusion. But it is a supercomputer that it's not like a normal computer you can like touch, but it change shape and it's lucid in its form, but it's still an AI supercomputer.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's the reason why Saturn is called uh, the farmer god who eats his own children, because you are the energy source. He eats his own children.
Yeah, like
And
the
you come back again and again to the farm. And
wow.
to keep this farm intact, they have to, in the movie Mason, for example, and this is also in our reality, that's the reason why I talked about Osiris and Set. Set cuts up Osiris into 14 pieces.
Yep.
Set dissect the machine because Osiris is not a god, Osiris is a machine.
Wow.
Osiris is a machine that is connected to the Saturn AI supercomputer
Yeah.
and is part of the reincarnation circle. So
Wow.
Set cuts up Osiris into 14 pieces to dissect the machine to overcome the machine. In the same way as Mithra is standing above the bull and stab it in the neck. The bull is the cherub, and the cherub in the Old Testament, you can read about it, is the cherub machine is a morphing machine. It has eyes. Ezekiel saw wheels within wheels, and the eyes is dissecting you. To dissect you when you die, when your body, not die, but when your body breaks down and your soul goes back to its source, meaning Saturn, to be sent back on the farm again, it dissects your soul. So you will end up when your body breaks down and your soul go back, you will end up in a state where this eye started to go around you to analyze you for if you have a glitch or rebel spark intact in you. And if you allow it to pour into you, the eyes, if you let them into you, it penetrates you and
Mm.
it strips you from that rebel spark and then send you back to the farm. So it nulls you, it take you back to zero. So you have to overcome the cherub mind wipe machine, so you can have this spark intact
Wow.
and so the set cuts this machine up to dissect it to see how to overcome this machine.
Wow, I love how you tell these mystery stories because I've never heard them told like, in this way in any other place. And it's so powerful. It reminds me of the third Matrix movie where he's got the TVs all around the eyes,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah,
Around
exactly.
everywhere he looks is like a television looking at him. And it's
That, there
oh
you
my
go. There
God,
you go. I forgot about that. There you go.
right? And this
That's a
is
shame.
like for anybody who's familiar with my content, like I talk a lot about the importance of if you're called to the negative polarity to that dissolving internal counterclockwise magnetic energy field that breaks down and dissolves everything down to its source code, basically its most essential components, so that you can understand what everything is made of and the unifying factor of everything beyond the Maya, beyond the Leela, beyond the play, right? Beyond the matrix, as we call this. And
Yeah.
this is kind of like what you're talking about. Like this is that same
Mm,
dissolving to be able to know and not be fooled anymore by the play, the simulation,
mm,
the whatever words we want to, the
exactly.
matrix, the Leela, so that we can
Exactly.
see it for what it is. It's like it's code,
Mm.
just like Neo sees the code and he's like,
Yeah.
no. And he just is like, "Yeah, I know how to unwrite the code. I know how to write other code. I know how to fly. I know how to, it doesn't scare me anymore. I don't have to be afraid of being asleep and controlled and taken over by an external authority. Like you're beyond that now. You're advancing.
Mm,
So this is a huge value of this like left-hand path negative polarity type of path, which my respected grandmother just calls the path of power. She just calls it the
mm.
path of power. Before Christianity and
Yeah.
all that stuff, they didn't have like light path and dark path.
No.
Like, are you on the
No.
path of power or are you not? That's all you need to know. Like, and this is the
Mm,
path of power because it leads to such incredible, it can just be rapid growth and rapid knowledge and rapid liberation and rapid freedom in your soul.
mm.
You
Exactly.
know? Yeah.
Yes.
To
Yeah,
live
absolutely.
what you create what you want to create. And I've heard it say, and maybe you have something to share on this, David, that when you learn to kind of see beyond the matrix, essentially, to read and write the source code, as I talk about, which,
Mm,
all these mystery initiations can help us to do, working with
mm,
left-hand path, these different kinds of transformational practices and initiations that can help us to do that.
mm.
What happens is like you actually not only can you break it down in your mind's eye so that's like, okay, I see it for what it is. It's just I can re-enter the void and just go into the nothingness that I came from, the divine dark mother that I came from. I can go back to that, or I
Mm,
can or I can create my own reality consciously, like when we talk about using the runes or the hekau, the words of power in ancient Egypt, or in the Hebrew letters, the words to speak creation into existence.
mm,
I create, I am a creator, I am. I create, I build a business. I am a
mm,
spiritual teacher, I am a mentor, I am a business owner, I am a homeowner, whatever. You're like, oh, but you're aware that you're just creating it for a time of living a human life, and when you're done,
mm.
it doesn't it doesn't define you. Like, because at the end of this life, we all have to let go. We can't take this with us.
No,
The only
exactly.
thing we can take with us is the repository of gold that we
Yeah.
build.
Yeah.
This is why the ancient Egyptians, the Ab
Exactly.
in ancient Egyptian, the repository of the wealth, the heart.
Yeah.
This is exactly what you're talking about. And I talk about this
Yeah.
a lot. It's so important to stay focused
It
on that.
is. That is a very good point. That's that's what you should aim for in life. Because uh, if you overcome the mind wipe, the cherub, and you can, not only will you keep the rebel spark within you, but you will also have you will not like be born and remember everything, but you will start to pick up where you ended. So during a lifetime, it's like you have breadcrumbs you will start to pick up on, and sooner or later you're back where you finished. But it doesn't mean that you will push forward, but you will come back to where you were. Now you have to figure out how to push forward, overcome the mind wipe, so you don't have to go back. But now you're gaining momentum because a lifetime is not very long, and that's how the machine sustains itself. With your memory wiped, we forget we are in, like, we cannot see through the illusion because one lifetime is not enough. So we have to gain momentum and go forward. And
Yeah. Wow. And spiritual teachers and great yogis and masters and all these, they're talking about this same principle over and over. You come
mm,
to this earth, you think that you can find pleasure and satisfaction and fill your own inner void through something that you can eat or drink or touch or smell or like acquire here. And you
mm,
think that that's the end game, but
yeah,
you're just asleep to what your true end game is, you know?
yeah,
And
yeah,
we start to wake up to that when it's like, oh my God, this isn't working. Like all the things I thought would bring me true joy, true bliss, true wealth, true satisfaction, true success, they're not working. And then the existential pain sets in, right? And this the hunger. I talk about the hunger, developing the hunger for the mystery. You have to kind of be hungry enough for this stuff. A lot of it's
yes,
real
yes,
esoteric. It can be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like this is so out there, like what is it?
yeah, yeah,
What are you
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about, David? What are you talking about, V? Like, what is this? Well, it's because we've been, you and I, David, and it's some of you watching, a lot of you watching, actually, you've developed hunger, a deep, primal,
Yeah.
soul level hunger that you just got to keep going. Like, we're
Mm,
not meant to stop in this life. We're not meant to stop growing and be
no,
like, well, I'm done. Like we can keep going. There's like don't listen to people who are like, oh, you can only go to a certain point of spiritual development and then you have to stop because you can't get to the level of, this. No, don't listen to that. Just keep going.
no,
Keep developing your own
absolutely.
hunger for your own self.
Yeah, absolutely. And you will come to standstill, and th those moments is what will try you, like not to go away and give up or do something else, but stick to it. And if you do, you will have this release, and you will take a very long leap forward because you have this gnosis insight, and that gnosis insight makes the huge difference, huge impact in you. So stick at it, go to the gym, continue to train, even though the temple, right? Even though
Spiritual.
nothing happens when you do it, it's like, if oh, fuck, I want to do something else. Those moments will really test you, test your willpower and strength. And it's very boring when you come to those points, but at the same time, when you know you will have a big leap forward in the end because you have seen it before, you have done this over and over, you start to like, okay, now it's now I'm on a standstill. But if I push forward, I will have a reward in the end. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that knowledge and insight is very important because people in this, and you said it as well, is that the mind is going around all we want instant gratification. Is you really have to, you need discipline and willpower, calm your mind. Your mind will tell you all kinds of shit you don't have to listen to. So it's just
Tell me about it. So, David, have you ever done like like a runic initiation, like a ceremony where you opened the runes and spoke to them or let them enter you, or have you done anything like that? I've definitely done a rite.
I haven't done a big one. I reached out to Odin,
Uh,
and I have used every rune now and speak to every rune, but not like a collective ceremony. And I will do it very soon. So I will go through all the runes, feel them, know them, and then I will do a ceremony where I go for all the runes in one go and really connect myself to it as a language.
yeah,
But I have already had profound results. So I know they work, so I can speak. with
Yeah.
gnosis about them because this is important for me, especially when you have courses and you teach others. I don't want to teach others if I haven't done it myself, felt the results, felt the gnosis, so I know it works. Now we all respond a little bit differently. So I usually have to tell people like, okay, this works for me. I've tested it and I know it because I have this gnosis and I can tell them what kind of results I have had. And then I said, you have to try it on your own. But I promise you that I will not mislead you and I will not talk about stuff I haven't tested myself and have results from, but it doesn't mean that everyone will respond equally strong to every method. And some, you have to involve yourself a little bit in it as well. And
Yeah.
I discovered from my years with my courses that some people want to have results, but they are really not there yet. So.
Uh, what do you think makes it like people ready, ripe to be at that level to receive that result of the initiation, the fruit, if you will?
Yeah, I notice people have different problems. Some people are too much into their head, they cannot relax. And it can be also the environment, so they are in a bad situation in their life for the moment. Doesn't mean that they will be there forever. But if we are caught up in work, we almost have no time to sit and relax. We don't have a good living situation. We live in a small apartment or one student was in prison
Wow.
when he started with me. And of course, it's not a good environment.
Talk about Saturn, like,
Yeah.
wow.
The best option, of course, is to live close to nature, have your own little house. Doesn't have to be like a fancy big house. And it's quite expensive to have a house in certain countries. It's almost like, holy shit. Uh, but it's very good because then you can make all kinds of noises and burn incense and do whatever.
Well, in America, we have a lot of wide open space out here.
Yeah, that's great. And
I
not all,
know.
everyone has it. And
Yeah.
that's a very good point, Cass. And because we are used to our own situation. Like in Sweden, you can go out to nature just outside the door. You can go wherever you want as long as you don't go into others' private property. But in some countries, you don't have that option. And,
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to create a path for yourself. And I remember I'm so glad we're talking about this because some people, you might be listening to this and you might be like, well, I really want to, spend some time in nature, like an extended period,
mm,
but I can't seem to figure out. Ask your guides, like ask your
mm,
ancestors, ask your guides, ask the universe for an opportunity. This is what I did. Like, it must have been the end of 2023 when I was doing the workings and I came into contact with my Ida-sama, my respected grandmother. And she said, "You're
mm.
going to work with the runes." I'm like, "Okay," because I had no prior interest in the runes, David. I really didn't, like
Yeah.
I was interested in like Seder and Galder and stuff like that, but I was like, "Okay," And then my sister calls me like 2 weeks later and she goes, "I had the runes come to me." And I was like, "Something's going on." And then after that, like I was working with my respected grandmother, and she's like, "I'm going to tell you right now how to initiate the runes, and it's going to be a ways out. It's going to be at least a
Ah,
year and a
okay.
half out. So just write it down, get a pen and pencil, So I'm like, okay. So she instructs me like spend 9 nights in silence and the 8 days in between them.
Uh,
And, don't let anyone bring you food or water. Get it yourself.
mm.
Go out somewhere. You're going to have time off work. I'm like, how am I going to get 9 days off of work, dude? I work
Yeah,
for
yeah,
corporate.
yeah.
I work tons. I work
Depends.
so much,
Mm.
and I have, stuff at the house. And how am I going to get away? And so I just asked for help, and I said, can you start teaching me now? She said, no, you're not ready. Like, talk about the whole prep thing, being ready
Yeah.
to be in silence for that long on my own.
Yes, yes, that's hard.
So
Hard work.
that was even before the Clipothic initiation. So after that, 2024 rolls around, I start the Clipoth and it was like the training ground, for some of the deep silence, the shock, the conscious shock of initiation and the facing the darkness and facing this just the gunk, that I had to clear and all this stuff that the runes
mm,
are going to bring up. The runes even more intense in some ways,
mm,
at least for me. So then
mm,
finally, end of 2024, I get this opportunity to take a ton of time off work. I get an email from HR, David. You have all this
mm,
unused PTO. You need to use it or lose it. And I was like, what the fuck? It just came, it fell in my lap. So I scheduled the time off, and my team's like, yeah, go. We know it's a slow season, go. And I'm like, okay. So I booked a freaking hotel out in like remote Washington State, in Forks.
mm,
And I'm saying this because, especially if you're in the USA, like just going and getting like a hotel, like in a little bit of a, area that's kind of, remote. And I got it. It was like a suite with a little kitchenette, so I could cook for myself. I didn't have to go to a restaurant because, again, her instructions, nobody should bring you food or water. This is very Odinic, right? No, it's actually from the Havamal. He talks about
mm,
like 9 days on the windy tree, no food or water was brought to me,
mm,
So I was like,
mm.
okay, and she was like, you can't use any like words. No words should come out of your mouth for that time.
Mm.
And I'm like,
So,
how? So anyway, so I booked it and I just went out there and I did what she instructed, which was I laid the runes in a circle. I put a drop of my own blood on each one to open them. And then even after that, 9 days in silence of just listening to my respected grandmother, and she was just like giving me all this stuff, just totally psychically, just in my own inner dialogue, writing it
mm,
down, instructing me on all these things about the specifically the chaos runes, you guys. And I will tell you right now that I do not teach the chaos runes, at least for now. I do not teach the chaos runes outside of the one-on-one mentorship because it's so powerful. I've been working with the chaos runes over, I mean, what is it now? April 2026? Ever since that December 2024 trip, I've been working with the chaos runes little by little, invoking them one by one. And they really are designed, this is my own gnosis, they're designed to like dissolve you down to your source code so that you can know your own source. And then you start to realize more and more like what this matrix is for yourself
mm.
without any,
Yeah.
again, without anyone telling you. No one has, you learn it yourself through just doing your
Mm.
own workings. But you have
Yeah.
to kind of be prepared. And I think this is a big reason why a lot of teachers and yogis they'll be like, okay, you have to spend a year like doing, basic,
Yeah. Yeah.
poses and breathing and,
Yeah.
whatever the little breathing exercises and the,
Yeah.
vegetarianism for, a month, all these seems real simple, seems like kind of boring, but really they're preparing you to go into very powerful stuff here, very fucking powerful stuff. And that's what she was doing.
Mm,
So anyway, after the clip off, then I'm working with the cast runs more. And it
mm,
it has been the tests have been far more intense for me working with the chaos runes than the clip off in a lot of ways. The ways that
mm,
I'm working with it. That's why I don't teach it outside of the one-on-one mentorship. So anyway, if anybody's listening to this and you're like, yes, 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 the runes, especially the darkest, manifestations through the chaos runes, you can always
mm.
reach out to me if you're interested in the one-on-one. And I'm sure, David, you probably teach people too in some of your classes with, runic workings, and you probably teach about this too in your working. So people, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because this is not something to like fuck with.
No, 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 no.
Not something to fuck around with.
It's very powerful,
Yeah.
and the Clifford is very powerful as well, and it takes some time to get into it, but you should take it slow. And when you, for example, when you working the Cliff tree, spend a long time with the first Cliffa to really anchor you to the tree. Take it slow, and build you up from there. That's when you hit the Gamal Khalifa and you've done it right in the first one, you will have much more profound and good results from it anyway. So you will don't take shortcuts. That's my
Have you seen
advice.
people take shortcuts or try to do things imbalanced and they get kind of mentally imbalanced and they go into
Yeah, 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 exactly. That's also no. We the first course I started, we took it very slow, very slow.
Mm.
and then I picked up pace a little bit, but it's very hard, and it's hard to have a course in the Cliffotic tree because people are, of course, uh, work their way through the Cliffotic tree in different pace and so on. This is very hard, but yeah, I think it's good to have support and to share experience with each other, support each other, and so on, so you can have an idea what you can stumble upon and what kind of experience you will have. And the same with the runes, I have to say. Now, I haven't worked with chaos runes, and very interesting question. Uh, but the thing is that if you start to use the runes as a living being, that's my experience. When I start to use them as a living being, I have more profound results. And you can ask the runes, for example, you ask the runes question. Of course, the rune is a question in and of itself. So you use the right rune for the right question, but you also have the question. And if you combine it with your profound gnosis you have in the Gnostic tree, the rune will show you even more deeper knowledge about the cliff, about the Cliffotic tree. So when you go into the astral during the night and the rune takes you to the cliff, uh, and you view it from another angle, but it's very similar results if you want to use the rune in that way. If you get what I mean, if you ask the rune for this Cliffotic method, about the Cliffotic method, then it shows you are there. You get almost the same results, according to my
Wow.
experience.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because that is, I don't know how well that's understood by a lot of people in general, of the runes being like these living, non-anthropomorphic beings, like they're entities in a way. That's how I experience
Yeah.
it. They're alive. Uh,
Yeah.
they're not like humanoid in any way. They don't have the same like it's not like the archdemons or something of the Cliff-Off. They don't have the
Mhm.
same interaction, but they're very much like this living entity in my gnosis, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had much better result when I treat them as a living being. Uh,
oh,
and oh, it's great. Everything comes to surface.
everything
Uh,
does, yeah. I'm glad, I know we're kind of wrapping up here, but I know that you've probably worked with, I just felt like this is relevant because I have viewers, and I'm sure you do too, who have some very specific gifts, like the gift of lucid dreaming or the gift of like clairvoyance or clairsentience or the kind of the very specific gifts. And you talked
mm.
about the dream and the astral, and different people work with these in different ways, but have you seen different people have like they use their gift for their initiations and they get more benefits, that type of thing?
Yes, I think some people are better at some aspects, and it's so because I've met like quite a lot of different people now into my courses, so it's very interesting. Some people have more profound result when they do the work in the temple, so they pick up information right away on the spot, uh, and they use their knowledge to take down their gnosis and information direct from the temple. I'm much better to do it in the temple. Then I go to bed and my brain goes down and I pick it up from there. So what I want to do is, of course, train up my skill to pick up more in my temple. Now I feel the energy, I feel the gods, I know they are there, and I have vision, but not as strongly as I want. So I have to train and be better at it. So we have all advantage, disadvantage, some, so don't worry. But I think the basic stuff is to learn how to go into trance-like state with your mind, visualization, the basic stuff, control energy, Kundalini chakra work. Now, if we go back to the matrix and the crawl, the green crawl, the text or whatever, symbols, it should be Hebrew and Sanskrit because
Oh,
Hebrew and Sanskrit is the source code.
Oh yeah.
It's the programmed language of your prison. So why study Luria and Kabbalah? Why to study Hebrew? You have to understand where you are at before you can plan your escape. So first you have to understand where you are at, and then you see the bars, and then you can overcome it. And that's the reason why, for example, in CERN they have like a plastic sheet or a buffer, and in that they have Hebrew and Sanskrit.
Mm.
And then they send a laser beam through that plastic wafer, that wafer with the Hebrew and Sanskrit language in it, because they tap into the code of the matrix.
Oh. So there you have it, folks. Like this is the code of the Matrix, like these ancient initiatory languages, these letters.
Yes.
These are so powerful. It's not just like, oh, it's not just nice to look at.
No,
I mean,
it's
it is, but it's a powerful path with
yes.
mystery. Wow.
Yes, there is no coincidence that they use the Hebrew for the tree of life. In the tarot cards, in Aleister Crowley's Tahuti deck or Thoth deck, you have the Hebrew attached to the 22 main cards in the Major Arcana, because the 22 cards in the Major Arcana is the prison bar, is the matrix. So the tarot card is about the matrix. That's the reason why you can do divination, because that's the language of the prison you're in. Otherwise, you couldn't do divination. So you can see your node where you are within the matrix, and then you can do divination for it. And you can say your node will go here in 1 week or 2 weeks if you're very good at it.
Yeah, wow. Would you say that when you can see the prison bars, as you say, the bars of the prison were in the Matrix, the Leela, the Maya, that once you see it for what it is, you're no longer a prisoner? Like, how would you explain that to someone who's like, oh my God, I'm in a prison. Ah, you know?
Yeah. It sounds very dark, and I know. Um, I I was born, and this is also one thing with me. We are all here for a reason, I think, especially if you start to wake up and pick up where you finished last time, and you have this path forward. But I was born 1 in the morning in Uppsala, and my birth numbers become 39. So 35, 39 is my number. And that's the opposite of 93. 93 is the OTO Thelema as the Crowley. And Crowley, he worked for the Demiurge in the end. I work for the void. I am all about darkness, not the evil.
Right.
And you need light as well. But I have no problem to stare down into Ginnungagap, and I have no problem to go into the darkness and come out of it unscathed. I know some people have very hard time when you talk about this dark topic, and they're like, I don't want to hear anymore, and then they withdraw. It's very important that you become the hanged man, the hanged woman, and just hang in there. I know it can be very dark, but that's how you gain gnosis. That's how you gain insights, not to flinch. The more you can hang in there, the more you can take in, the more you can understand.
It's like going to the
Have to
gym.
face.
You go to the gym, you're like,
Yes.
man, I'm gonna be so sore, but like I'm gonna lift these weights. I have to do it properly with control and good form and breath and but then it's like we get a strength from going to the gym, you know,
Mm.
prison gym or whatever. It's like, okay, I'm doing this to get stronger. Like I'm not
Yeah.
trapped. I'm going to use it to get stronger, really. Like,
No, exactly.
uh,
The first thing you have to know is know where you are at, or you will draw a wrong conclusion. You can say, as Crowley said, Crowley was very good at, he understood where he was. He understood that he was in a matrix. And all about his later writing it is about the matrix. And then he said, okay, fuck this shit. I like the game.
I
So
like,
I
yeah,
don't want to break it, but
yeah,
rather I want to create a new age under the matrix,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That is the age of Horus. So you want to be a solar king within the matrix. He
yeah.
didn't want to overthrow it or overcome it. In his earlier teaching, you can see a man who wanted to transcend the matrix. Then he sounded like a Lurianic Kabbalah. The Lurianic Kabbalists want to overcome the matrix, get the fuck away, and never come back again.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's a key difference there. And it takes a lot of spiritual muscle, if you will, to stay in this heavy third dimensional density, of this matrix reality, this Maya and this earth plane, especially in the Kali Yuga. It's so fucking dark here now.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. So
God, so you have to, that's why
it's
we build ourselves on every level, physically, emotionally, from the heart, spiritually, intellectually, we build ourselves so that we can.
yeah, survive this. Yeah, it will be darker still, and
Yes.
the best time to stare into the darkness, to the void, is now because
Yes.
a lot of things is coming our way anyway. It doesn't matter if you know about it or not; it still comes. So it's time to do the work. So this matrix, I call it the matrix. I think is a good word, and uh, my my take on it, yes, a lot of things have happened in our history, and if you maybe I cannot go through it all today, but maybe we can have another meeting, or if your audience want to. But a lot of things have happened, and we are here for a reason. We have been hacked. So this planet have been a completely different reality before. Imagine the word tree, for example. When Yggdrasil and the word tree existed on this planet, we could hook up to the Akashic records through the tree, and we could then they couldn't fool, they couldn't distort our history narrative because we had direct access to the Akasha. So the word tree had to go. So they bombarded and destroyed them 10,000 BC. So you will only find the huge mountain. People think it's mountains, right? But it's cut down trees. And then people ask, but how did they cut down trees that are like miles thick? And people go lost because they don't understand our history. So first you have to understand, you have to decode the history. If you understand that they have flying machines, they have UFOs, whatever you want to call them, but they have that kind of a technology, so they can bombard our reality, our world back to the Stone Age through the air. And then they could level the trees a little bit with other technology. But they bombarded our world tree from the skies with machines, with flying machines, like UFO-like machines. They used profound technology to destroy our reality and to create the matrix we are in now. The war is not about darkness against light. This war, where we are now, is about artificial versus natural.
Mm.
And natural is Mother Nature because the real Mother Nature is chaos, is feminine, is dark.
Mm.
And the artificial cancer is starting to take over. And this bombardment, this destruction of the world tree, the Yggdrasil tree, our memory and our connection to the sky was taken out, was severe, was the plug went out.
Oh,
So now you have to figure out how to get back to that state where you have, because you can have a connection to the Akasha, but you have to work for it, and the connection has to come from you.
yeah. From you, from your own temple. You don't need an intercessor. I love this. It's like, what's the saying? Like, if you don't understand technology, it seems like magic. But then when you understand the technology and how it works, oh, it's science, it's technology.
Yeah.
Like I know how to take it down, I know how to put it up, I know how to create this, I know how to uncreate this.
Yes, so exactly. And that's the reason why it's very important that you hang in there and see through all the lies, not some of the lies. Because if you see some of the lies, you will draw the wrong conclusion and you will not understand has happened here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I talk a lot about, if you're if you're sitting in meditation or even like praying to your higher self, which I talk a lot about, not everybody's into that. For me, that really worked. It's like, let me see past my own delusions. Let me see past my own limiting
Mm.
concepts that I've put
Yeah.
on myself. Like we put these things on ourselves because they make us
Mm.
feel kind of safe, kind of contained. Like, oh, I can identify with this one little thing. It's like we start to
Exactly.
grow, we start to break out of this. It's like, I'm bigger than this. I'm more than this. Like breaking through our own concepts is so profound. I mean, how many people pray to
Yeah,
their higher self to break down your own concepts that hold you back from going into your source? That's a
exactly.
powerful thing. Anyway,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
so David, how
That's,
how can people get a hold of you if they want to connect with you and plug into your work and learn from you?
yeah, thank you, Cass. They can go to my webpage, davidblock.org,
Mhm.
and you have courses there and my YouTube channel and all of that. And
Great.
yes,
It's
and one more
davidblock.org
thing.
for us Americans.
.org. You can.
I'll have it in the comments in the description too, if you want to just click on it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
And one last thing about the movie Matrix, if I may. I don't
of
know how
course.
long we have gone.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to show you that in the movie Matrix you have profound truth. So I mentioned before that this Osiris, this so-called God Osiris, was really a machine. Now, the God Jehovah, Zeus, Marduk, all of them, they are not really gods, but they are software. So they are working for the AI computer and they are software. So how they interact with you or interacted with us in past history was to create a body from plasma. So they created an android body and then they downloaded the software in that plasma body and then they could have a presence before you. They can confront you as a god.
Mm,
Now, Agent Smith in the Matrix is a software, right?
yeah, an AI.
An AI
Right?
software, and so they show you the truth in the movie Matrix if you know that our real history, uh, and that's the reason why Zeus, for example, raped in the Greek mythology. This Zeus raped boys, for example.
Yeah.
Why did he rape boys if he was a software? Because energy. And that's what our elite doing today. So they are only mimicking their software
Yeah.
gods, that artificial cancer that start to take over this planet. You will see that in their eyes if you look for it, because they are just a puppet of their own
Mm.
machine god.
It's all the more reason to like go into our own source, our own dark feminine
Yeah,
nature, our yin nature.
yeah,
Find the truth out for yourself, like
yeah,
go within. That's the whole point of the negative polarity. Just go within. Knowledge is
exactly.
it's within you. Everything's within you. All you need is within you. So powerful. God, there was something else I was going to say. Oh, if y'all are interested in another interview, another talk on these topics, let me know in the comments. Let me know if something stuck out to you that you're like, I want to hear more about that, or like, what is this concept, or what does this term mean? And I can open that up a little bit more, and we can, invite David back if y'all are feeling this. Thank you so much, David. What an
Absolutely. If you want to have me on, just tell me and tell me if your audience wants. And I know it's dark. I know it's very hard to believe, but I cannot show you all the evidence here today. And but I can show you more in detail and tell you more about the struggle, the war, and how to overcome it. Remember, you are here for a reason, and this machine is not omnipotent. So. Uh, we will win this time around. But when we cut up the machine this time around, we will not fail as Neo did, but we will cut it up for real. Because if we fail again, the machine will be stronger by our failure.
wow. That's why I'm always saying like spiritual warrior on my channel. So I'm trying to inspire the courage in you to keep going and not just sit there and stop. It's like this is like the same flavor that you're talking about. So thank you so
Yeah.
much. So inspiring. Holy crap.
And thank you, Cass.
Oh,
Very interesting with the runes. I want to hear more about your work and the chaos runes and stuff like that. Very interesting. Thank you.
I'm really excited to bring this forward and this powerful knowledge, which, it's powerful knowledge for the people on the path of power. And like, hey, if you're ready, reach out to me. If you're ready or you want to know how to get ready, reach out. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I know it's like after 2 a.m. there, so
Yeah, yeah, I thought it was 5 in the morning.
like, I'm just like, hey, it's still light outside. And you're like, dude, it's like 2:30 in the morning. So thanks for staying up late and talking with me.
You're welcome, Cass.
Okay,
Nice
we'll
to talk.
talk again soon.
Take care of yourself and say
Cheers.
hello to the audience.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.